Hello there my friends. Today we are looking at the new Ork Boyz kits for Warhammer 40,000. This kit came out a couple years ago, apparently not as a replacement for the old Ork Boyz kit, but as an addition, as a supplement to it. This kit comes with 10 Ork Boyz in the box, well 9 Ork Boyz and 1 knob, and they are all unique. They're all mono pose, what's called push fit, although that's a little questionable. There are a few pieces that have variations, but for the most part, what you see on the box is what you get. They are made with pride in the United Kingdom. Unboxing them, this set of 10 miniatures comes with 2 different sprues, a set of bases, some cute transfer stickers, and instructions. The instructions show you a layout of the sprues, in case what you got in the box was wildly different than what looked like on the picture, and talks about some of the assembly options, the different variations. I'm excited to take a look at this, assemble our knob capo, or our noble hifaso, and our ragazzi. After reading through it, I decided that boy number 6 was the one I wanted to assemble. He's armed with a choppa and a slugga, and let's take a look at the sprues to find him. This Ork Boyz kit is very different from the old Ork Boyz in that it has a mixed loadout. It doesn't give you options to arm all of your boys with sluggas and choppas or all of your boys with shootas. Instead, a couple come with shootas, a handful come with sluggas and choppas, one comes with a special weapon, and then there's the boss knob to lead the unit. In addition, as many of the parts are partial, like the heads have partial parts of shoulders, some of the heads and faces come in 2 separate parts, this kit doesn't seem like it'll work very well for kit bashers. We might have some luck with conversions later on though. It looks like we need to find parts 16, 17, 18, and 19 to make him. All of the parts are numbered, and that's extremely helpful, and they're more or less, for this boy at least, they were in the same area. So we'll clip the parts off the sprues and see what we have to work with. This kit is quite a bit more expensive than the old Ork Boyz kit. It's about $50 for 10 models, whereas the old Ork Boyz you could reliably find for $38 for 11 models. Which means these Ork Boyz clock in at about $5 a model, whereas the old Ork Boyz about $3.45 a model, and that's buying them brand new. You can usually find them much cheaper used. But a big part of what makes the old Ork Boyz kits so good and still worth it to buy a new box is that it comes with so many extra pieces, so many bits for your bits box and kit bashes, whereas this kit will come with, let's see, maybe an extra head, an extra weapon option for the knob, an extra special weapon. So push fit. The instructions say that no glue is required, however, I don't know, it's not looking great. I tried my hardest to push fit the pieces together, but they ended up looking a little rough. It might just be me, but yeah, the push fit's not going to work. So, thankfully I'd read about this before online, and I knew an easy way to make it work is to trim off the push fit bits, the little nubs and pegs, and then just simply glue it together like you would a regular model. Using this Tamiya extra thin plastic cement, they went together pretty well. And then after chopping off the other nubs on the other push fit components, I dry fitted them and it looked good. Then I glued them together as well. This little skull hanging from his belt seems like a bit that would snap off really easily, so I put some plastic glue between it and its leg to make them a solid piece also. Finally, after cutting off the last nub, the head should fit in easy peasy. It's important to see though that this head, like many others I mentioned, has a big part of his neck, a big part of his shoulder on it. So that makes sort of the easiest kit bash to do, a head swap. That makes that kind of impossible for these guys. And that's a real shame because that's a very easy way to add variation to any of your troops, to make them look different, to make them look more their own, to make them look more your own. After he's dried, now we can clean him up. Usually on a regular model kit I'll do this before assembling them, but in his case I wasn't sure where all the mold lines would end up, and thankfully there weren't very many anyway, so I just scraped them off, put a little dent in the barrel of his slugga, and then grabbed my miniature drill to drill out the barrel of his gun. It makes a huge difference in how it looks at the end, and I strongly recommend getting a little hand drill, a little pin vise, something like that if you want to be a kit basher and converter. One thing I love about Ork kits is that they have lots of little details that don't always get appreciated, and these ones are especially good. Like, look at his little fingerless gloves that also have punch knuckles built in, and then look at his fingernails. I know some girlies who would kill to have natural nails like that. Right now we're comparing his hands and weapons with an old Ork boy, and they seem to be a perfect match. So with a little work, you could pull off pretty easy hand and weapon swaps conversions. In terms of overall Ork aesthetics, he looks really good and would fit in very well with any other Orks you might have. Just keep in mind that what you see on the box is what you get. Look, it's you. He is a stocky, sturdy boy. Now that he's done, let's see how he looks next to some other Ork boys. Here he is with an old Ork boy and a beast snagga boy. A bit bigger than the old Ork, a bit smaller than the beast snagga. One thing you could do if you had a bunch of old boys and you got a box of these is use the new boys as knobs for your squads. Although in body mass alone, the new boy does get severely mogged by one of the old knobs. And when we put him next to a war boss, even an old war boss, yeah, he's definitely still an Ork boy. But that's not a bad thing. Here he is, hopping into the seat of a ridiculous war bike that I scratch built. He looks pretty good on there, doesn't he? And we can even throw his friend on top to ride shotgun, with the exhaust blasting in his face. If you've seen the first KITBASHA video, you've learned the secrets of Ork Posture Correction, which makes the old Ork boys look not quite so small next to the new ones. Nonetheless, these are a lovely kit that fully embraces the Orky aesthetic while making it its own new thing. And more Orks is always a good thing. These boys are definitely Orks. However, as monopose minis with unique parts, they do have limited potential beyond what you see on the box. Because kit bashing and converting is such a big part of my hobby, I don't know if I would get more than one box of them. But I'm happy I got these ones. Take care, my friends, until next time.